And we're helping companies and individuals focus their attention on the data that's most important and just aligning teams through data. So you can think of Storytell as an alignment tool. In fact, this is officially how we define Storytell. So it's a B2B, so business to business AI platform that helps your team make sense of large amounts of both structured and unstructured data. So think quantitative and qualitative data. And not only are you making sense of it, but then you're learning, what should I do with this? What insights can I take action on here? Because businesses are about truth. We all need to align around the same truth, but they're also about action. You have to do something with that truth. You can't just sit there. And especially in our mode as a startup, like it's about constant action. So what are some things that you're able to do with Storytell? Well, you can really dynamically size your data set. What does that mean? So you can choose exactly what data you're interacting with. So what you want to include and what you want to exclude from any of your queries or what you're creating using our AI. We also have built in this level of trust. So I'm wondering how many of you have heard about hallucinating. So where an AI appears to be making things up. So we've got these models that essentially act like a eager puppy, oh, I want to do it right. I want to please you. I want to make you happy. Um, and so that means that it can deliver things that are actually not factually accurate. And so to that whole black box, we don't know what the answer is or how we created it, that's not good enough for us. So at Storytell, we created an algorithm that sits on top of whatever model you're using that breaks down the content and delivers the response to you with footnotes. And so we'll look at that. We're going to start the actual demo of the product in just probably about 2 to 3 minutes. And so you'll actually see those footnotes to understand, where did this information come from? So that's where we're building trust. And also, again, I mentioned aligning a team through data. So actually de-siloing an organization, right? Because we've got all our different departments that specialize as you need to, and yet they're starting to rely on different data. You can think of the fable of the 12 blind men and the elephant, and they're all saying, oh no, this is what an elephant is like. And that's because they're visually impaired and don't realize what the whole picture looks like. So in a business, you have to realize what the whole picture looks like. And so everyone feeding in the raw data sets into Storytell, we can all be generating insights from the same data. And so that's going to make us more powerful as a company. And Geronio, just let me know if there's any questions that come up. So right before we go in, I made this beautiful slide. So I know I am not a designer. I literally use Google Slides for this. Um, and I just want to give you a foundation of how Storytell works in its current form. Um, and so the whole idea is not that we're a free ChatGPT. That's not it. There's kind of no point in that. That's not a business. Um, it is that you're actually uploading data and interacting with it. And so how are you going to interact with it? So I'm going to speak to that here. So let's say, for instance, this is a file. Jordy, if you haven't dropped this in chat, please do. Where that we all have access to on this webinar. So what, motivations for using Storytell, the files that we've uploaded, etc., and any prompts that we use will drop in here as well. But it's like you could think of it as a collaborative workspace or like agenda for the call a bit. And I'll get into who Maya is in a moment. But so let's say this file itself is something that I've uploaded to Storytell. And, and so once I've uploaded it, I can organize it. And we'll get into the why in a moment. I'm just going to speak to the what. So I could put this file in an infinite number of tags. So tags you can think of as almost like folders. So it's just an organizing device. So let's say I create 3 tags. One is Storytell because it's like, oh, motivations for using Storytell.ai. So maybe I'm doing some research. I'm not at Storytell and I'm doing some research about Storytell. Well, this is one of the documents I might add to that. So, okay, there's a Storytell tag. I'm going to add other things to that as well. And also, I'm doing research about AI. Oh, this is about AI-powered research. Great. And there's probably also going to be some prompts in here. So these might be prompts I want to save. Prompts as in questions, how you're going to interact with the AI. And so this file could be in all 3 of these tags. And then I can group tags together, and we call it a group. And so let's say I'm leading the AI task force at my company, and I'm trying to educate myself on all the changes in AI. And also, I need to educate my company as well. And so I'm creating a group around AI education. So not only can I learn as I go and gather all this data, but my company can learn too. So anyone at the company could access it. It's not this, no, my knowledge is sacred and no one else in my company can see it. Um, and great to have you here, Nick. Oh, thanks so much. Okay, so I am going to just show us the next slide, which is what are we doing here? So the persona that we're using, we create a different persona, a fictional persona for each webinar, because often, for instance, if I'm talking about the customer success use case, I'm not going to use our own user data for that. And we want to make a way, so something I haven't spoken to is you can share your smart chats. And so we'll be sharing the smart chat with you. So Jordy, if you haven't done that already, please do. And this is a way that we can all interact with the same data safely. So this fictional person's name is Maya Serrano, and um, she is, like many people, on an AI task force at a public company. So a large company, and it's like, uh-oh, the AI wave is here. We already have our business. We're not suddenly an AI business, but how can we incorporate AI into how we're doing our work so we don't get left behind in this wave that isn't going away? Okay, so before we get to the Q&A here, I'm going to get out of slideshow mode so that I can actually get into Maya's account. So I'll just go back here to the home page. I'm just going to make a guess that most of you have a Storytell account, but if you don't, go ahead and sign up during the call. So I'm going to my dashboard here, and I'm just going to spend a moment to orient us. So right here, this is our smart chat. And right now, so I've got 2 options here. I can either chat with the world's knowledge, which is like the free ChatGPT, or I can chat with everything that I've uploaded at once. And then over here, I've got all these questions in the question library. So these are prompts we've already loaded in. Um, and you can just go ahead and drop them in. And then this is going to interact with all the knowledge that I've uploaded, right? So that is in process here. It's one way to just understand the data that you're working with. And then you can have it stop answering at any point. So I'm just going to stop it there. And you'll see that I have 2 tags. So we're going to come back to that. And before we go there, so there's also this content manager tab. So there's two views here, this chat or content manager. So in the content manager, you can still see the tags and you see everything that I've uploaded. And something to make note of here is what you've uploaded, you can choose the access. So if I were to share a chat, so we're going to come back to that. who could chat with it? Because nothing here is searchable or indexable by Google. That's not what's going on. Someone can't just search the web and find this. But if you share a link, or if a link is shared to this content, then here with anyone, only my org, that means that if we're all at the same company, and let's say we're all at Cisco, and we all sign in with our Cisco accounts, and we've all created Storytell accounts, then we will all have access to each other's data in the organization view, which this account can't get to, but that's right here. So if you have multiple people at your organization creating accounts, you would click on this and you would go to your organizational view, and then you can see all their tags and all the files that they've made available to the org. Where if it's just me, no one else is going to be able to chat with that. They won't be able to see it, etc. Or let's say something is public, then that would actually, and this really doesn't belong here. I was doing some searching earlier. Then anyone with a link, regardless of whether they're at your organization or not, could see it. Great. And so you can see here that you can smart chat with the same tag from Maya's data. So I'm representing Maya here. Okay, so this is all our data. These are some things you can do with it. And if you've uploaded something, you're like, oh, I want to add a tag to that, a different tag. So right, this was on my calendar, not useful. So I'm actually going to delete that one. I'm going to show you how I uploaded this, which it's public knowledge. I was looking at an article, and I'm going to add this to an existing tag, general AI data. And I'm also going to create a new tag, which is AI predictions, because you can see that's about predictions for 2024. Okay, there we go. Going to hit done. And so now it has these tags. And I'm going to go over to general AI data. And so this is, I can see what is inside this tag. So again, we're a bit in the orientation phase of where are we? It's a little bit of a world to learn, but once you do learn it, it's really powerful. So I could chat directly with this content, but largely bringing things into groups is going to make it more useful, more powerful, and also it saves your chat history. Okay, so I've added the predictions to this. And if I want to view the source content, what is this actually from? Oh, here we go. Okay, here's the article. And now that we're here, how did I upload this article? Well, there's multiple ways I could do that. And here's the easiest way. Download our Chrome extension. So since my Chrome extension is logged into Maya's account, so we're getting a summary here. That's great. And I could ask questions of it here, like if there's anything I wanted to go further into. Let's see, it's like what companies should be worried about lawsuits. And guess what? You can misspell words and it usually still works. Okay, great. So here, and this is what I'm talking about with the story tiles. So or the footnotes. So you see these numbers here, and once it's finished its summary, you can click on those and see where is this from? What part of the article did it get that from? Okay, so we've got this report here, and it's saying this is where that came from. This is another way to chat with content. There's lots of ways. Okay, so we've looked at this. Let's go back here and see in my content and all the content. I'm just gonna, should be able to get out of here and step out of the tag. I'm gonna, sometimes, we've got to outsmart the tech. Okay. And so that should, I guess I'd already uploaded it, but it should upload again. Maybe not. So let's go ahead. Let's look for more AI predictions from reputable sources. Just moving some things around here. I'm not going to go into the predicting death right now. So going to go into news. I'll just close it till I land on something. Okay. So Bill Gates has some ideas about what's going to happen with AI in 2024. And so that's uploading here. And then we're going to be able to see that back in Smart Chat. And I'm not really into notifications, so that's why I'm doing that. So TLDR, the executive summary, essentially. So this is also if you read a lot of news or things, looking at a PDF and you want to quickly get up to speed on it, you can do that here. And so, yeah, it's going to have a significant impact on the future. I totally agree with that. So we're going to go back into our Storytell dashboard. And I'm just going to refresh here and see any other questions there. Great. Thanks for dropping in the Chrome extension. So here we go. So it just took a moment for the AI predictions to upload again. The default is only my org. And so I can change that. This was public knowledge, so that doesn't need to just be for me. And what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to add a tag to it, right? And what tag might I add to it? Well, AI predictions. And I'll just hit done. Going to take a little water break. Okay, so now you've seen that's one way to upload knowledge. You'll look at this over here. Okay, let's say I have a text file, or this is another way to upload the same information. So I can just drop in the URL. So that's another way, and I could add a tag there. So happens that's not going to be super important for me. And then if I have a file on my computer that's somehow related to this, then I can just click this and upload as it happens. I don't think that I have more to add to this. But that's another way that you can upload, or if it's a YouTube video, a Zoom recording. So those are all ways that you can upload, but let's go ahead and start chatting. So we've got these different groups. And these were the 10 blogs for all my knowledge. But let's figure out what is it that you would want to ask? So if you have questions you want to ask, you can go ahead and drop those in chat or in Q&A. And let's see, really want to make sure, we've started here of what is it that I can do to bring AI into my organization. Now, I would need to describe my organization. So for instance, let's say that I'm at Cisco. So you could even do like describe Cisco's business. So much of what we do with AI is around our prompting. So what makes a bad prompt and what makes a good prompt? I'm going to do a bad prompt. So how can I use AI in my new company? So why is that a bad prompt? That's because the AI doesn't know who I am. And so here's some like general ideas. Maybe there's customer support, but you could be like, hey, I don't have customer support in my organization. I don't do supply chain management. Gosh, the AI really doesn't know what it's doing. Well, it doesn't know because you didn't tell it what to do. So you really have to define terms. So like, sure, here are some general ideas, and that's fine. But often the complaint around AI giving responses that are too generalized probably means your prompt is not specific enough. Okay, so let's say we work at Cisco. So I'm a product manager at Cisco. Uh, and then here we're going to describe what that does. Um, how could I bring AI into my organization to keep us more aligned as a team and a company? And so that's part of it, right? So I want to define what the terms are. Who am I? What do I do? What is my company? If that's what this is about. And then what is the format that I want to get the responses in? So give the output as a table with recommendations in the left column and reasoning in the right column. Okay. Yeah, you can get tables, you can get bullet points. And while that's going, I'm going to click on these to see where is this coming from in everything that we've uploaded. Okay, so machine learning applications like chatbots so have automated repetitive processes and creating personalized customer experience. So that's why that's showing up. So with each of these, we can look at and just be aware, you can always change on your screen where this is like, oh, I want some more screen real estate. So what's going on here? I said a table. Here we go. This is where Markdown comes into view. So that's just a language that gives you better formatting. It does mean what happened to those footnotes. You'd have to click here, view sources for those to come back into the mix. So it's not as nice of a view, and that shouldn't be resizing. So sorry, we do sometimes catch bugs on here. So here's a recommendation, and here's the reasoning why. I'm just going to check and see where we are with questions. How long in words? That is a great question. Thanks for surfacing that, Trudio. So there isn't a limit. I know often there's not a limit that I've hit in any of my questions. So I've actually taken entire templates. So here's the question, here's the template, and a whole page of what the format should be of the response. And yeah, would love to know what questions you'd like to ask of this data or what it is that you're trying to do with AI. But awesome question, keep them coming. So right here we see recommendations, real-time collaboration analytics. Okay, so it can analyze collaboration patterns, identify bottlenecks. So this is still kind of general. So I've given it some information, knowledge management. Well, that's exactly what we're using. Okay, internal supports. How many times, if you use Slack, do you get interrupted from your day because people need the same answers to the same questions again and again? And it's like, I would just like to ask my teammate. I don't know where to look in all our documentation. So many different ways. Sentiment analysis, right? So how is our team doing? What's the sentiment? What if you exported your entire Slack and just asked, how is our team doing? How's our team feeling? Okay, so let's go here and you can always elaborate. So I want to know more about using AI for real-time collaboration analytics. We use Slack, and I'll just give some examples from things we use at Storytell and as the customer experience, as the lead of customer experience, as the CCO, to monitor our user behavior. How could I better use AI to collaborate with my team so we understand our users better? So again, when at first it gives you something more general, you can always elaborate. I want to go more specific here. So just showing, okay, strategy description. I didn't even tell it to do a table or name the columns, and here it goes. Use AI to create advanced user segments in post-hog. Great. We actually need to do that. So um, it's great to see that. So this is something that we are doing. So we're taking all our user feedback and we upload that into a smart chat, and then we analyze that for themes. So this is exciting. I'm already seeing a few things that we could do. Okay, I want to make sure that there's space for more questions, and also like so we've got this general AI data. Um, how should I educate my team on AI? Um, give the top 5 takeaways from the attached content, or you can say content above, etc. That pertain to increased productivity and efficiency. Right. So we're going back to this whole AI task force. So how can I make our company benefit from AI? All right. So we're just in automatic table creation mode, which is great. It's just an easier way to look at this information. Skill gaps. Okay. Skill learning. Great. So you're probably not going to do all of these at once, but if you're a task force, then you might be bringing forward, here are some main ideas. So what are our top repetitive time-consuming tasks? Let's find the things we repeat the most and take the most time. And again, maybe you can use AI to figure out what those are. For data-driven decisions, so large data sets. Again, you can do that with quantitative and qualitative. Enhanced collaboration, we're already looking at that a little bit deeper. Skill gap, so AI learning. And sustainability goals. So how can you be more environmentally friendly using AI? Understanding ideas about how you could do that using AI. Okay. So that's what we have from this like more general research that we've done. Now, I wonder how many of you have heard about Gemini, right? So I'm gonna, right now, the way to kind of clear the deck here so we can add more tags. In fact, let's add all these tags. And now I'm going to create a group. And so let's call this AI. Maybe I have to give a report in January. So January 2024, right? Like these are ways we could use AI, and I'm going to help lead us in the direction of doing it at my company. Okay, so now we've got a whole group that has all the tags in it, right? Which at the moment is not actually the same as all my knowledge, because there's some things I scooped up with the Chrome extension that I did not tag, that did not pertain to this discussion. And what should I be worried about vis-a-vis AI in 2024? Our company might get left behind in the AI wave, but we also don't want to break any laws. So this is not an amazing prompt, right? But it's a starting point. So what makes it not a great prompt? Right? So we're back to I. Who am I? We don't know anything about my company. And so what would it mean to break laws for my company? Okay. So, right. So it's highlighting that the EU has introduced some frameworks such as the AI Act. And what if I want to know, like, oh yeah, gosh, what is in that AI Act? Well, guess what? We can figure that out. So AI Act. Okay. I'm guessing this AI Act is probably more than a few pages, right? It's not just a simple article where we're seeing what does Bill Gates think is going to happen in AI next year. So it's looking at risk, etc. And what I really want is the Artificial Intelligence Act itself. Great. This is a PDF. And just as I thought, it's a few pages long, right? So I'm going to summarize this using the Chrome extension, but even better, I'm getting it into my smart chat, into my Storytell dashboard. And while we're at it, we don't want to just know the EU regulation, we want to know like the White House AI regulations, right? So those came out in October. So there's this blueprint executive order, right? Okay, so here's the executive order. And again, it it's long, right? And it's often these things are written in legal language. And so what does that mean? So I still want to get an accurate understanding. It's a bit of a longer document, so it's taking a little time. Storytell is the way we break data down in order to deliver those footnotes to you. See? So quite a few Storytells. It's a longer document. Let's go back to this. So it's still working on that one as well. And so we're going to come back to that. Here we go. So we've got some key concepts here. And going to jump into our knowledge here because this should already be uploaded. Okay. The EU AI Act. Great. AI Act Europe. And just want to make sure it looks like that is the actual document here. And so all of these things are public, so they don't need to be just with me, right? Why would I make it more private? It's already available to the world. And I'm going to create a new tag here that's AI regulation, right? So what is it that I really need to know from regulation? Let's see here. Has this been fully uploaded? So let's have a look. So something to be aware of, currently uploading your content. So it's not uploaded yet. It's still working on it. So we're going to come back to that tag. But that's how I could become more aware about AI regulation, which is not part of this group. So I could just ask specifically once I add the other act to this AI regulation tag. Okay. So we're going to close this out and look at, addressing skill gaps. Okay. So ethical implications. Oh, right. We're back to this. That's funny. Okay. So I'm going to go back to what we were looking at before, which was from this group. Okay. Let's see, describe the 5 takeaways from this content and how they could be applied in a business setting for a mature business of 10,000 to 50,000 employees globally. All right, we'll see. Maybe it's gonna be in table mode. That would be amazing. Probably not, because I did not specify. Yeah, looks like not. But this does mean, again, we've got the footnotes showing up here. So that's going to help us understand, where is it getting this information? Because if you were just chatting with ChatGPT, asking all these questions, you're not going to know where the information is coming from. And we live in a world where we have to know. You can't be like the lawyer who's just using made up case law that gets you disbarred. That is, just think of any book report or research report you've ever had to do. You have to cite your sources. And so we provide that with these footnotes. And you just need to wait until it finishes. So we're on the 5th takeaway, and then we'll be able to see what like what the sources are for this content. One quick thing here. So if it's a solid response, you can go ahead and hit the thumbs up. You can also copy all the content. It will not copy the footnotes. That's nice because that's not going to be useful in whatever document you have. Or you can download as a PDF. If you don't want to see the footnotes, you can also do that. And if you're like, oh, you know what, I prefer this to be formatted in Markdown, you can hit that, just go back and forth. And so let's just see again, where's centralized AI strategy team? Oh, wait, maybe I'm on the AI strategy team. Obviously, don't mean I, but this is more back to the Maya, the fictional persona. Okay, larger companies, right, are more likely, right? So this is from the IBM AI Adoption Index. So this will always take you back to the source. Okay, let's go back here. And again, any more questions, please just drop those in chat. And let's see where we got to with this. So this should also be uploaded. So I'm going to go back to content and got this here. So again, I'm going to make this anyone with a link because these are public documents. And you know how before it said it was still uploading? Well, it is done uploading. Right here, we've got add tags. So I'm going to add a tag and go to AI regulation. And it's interesting to see how many people and how many companies AI regulation actually affects. Doesn't seem like that many when you look into it. So let's go ahead and chat with this tag. So you see what I'm clicking on? So I clicked on the tag. You can see the content in it. And I'm saying chatting with the tag. And again, we can ask for like summarize the top findings from these documents on AI regulation. What's the regulation? What companies does it affect? And what's the reasoning behind the regulation? Create a table with the appropriate columns. Okay. All right. And I see we've got something in this. Ah, got it. Okay. So that is a great question. So I'm just going to read the question. You might be able to see it. Is the Storytell livelihood? So like what's happening behind the scenes with our company? How are we financially making this work? Supported by user interaction with the AI as training. Wondering if questions and responses to Storytell could be unsent or modified, just thinking if the string of questions and answers might be long. So great questions. We are totally transparent about how we work. So it's awesome to get your question. So none of this is used for training, and I'm just changing that to Markdown. So I'm just going to take us here, and Jordy, if you can drop in our privacy page, but I'll also take us to it like this. So we use an API. So we're not, when you're interacting directly with ChatGPT, then that is used for training. But we operate with OpenAI through their API. So how different software talks to each other. And so we are not like none of your data, none of your questions are used to train models. So that is not what's happening. We're not using it. We're not currently training a model, but that is in our product roadmap. So we're not using your data in any way. The only way is so that you can query the data using our AI. So let me know if that answers your question. Really love that you brought that. And then we are funded by venture capital. So we've gone through an angel round and we're prepping for our seed round. So that's like early, angels, what gets you started, and seed, you're planting a seed. So, the flower can bloom. So that's our plan. And our whole model is that, oh, Kashina, thanks for watching at 2 a.m. Sorry about the timing there. Hope other folks can just check this out as the recording. But yeah, let me know if that answers your question. Great question. Glad you asked. So I'm just going to come back to Storytell itself. And again, I'm going to resize so we can really understand the regulation, because some people paying a lot of attention to this. Some people are very worried. Lots of people not at all. Is this going to halt innovation, et cetera? So this is a little more summarized than I would hope. So I can actually do a follow-up question. So the reasoning, got it, right? Okay, so addressing national security, addressing risk with the AI, et cetera. So then we have a little more information. So what is unacceptable risk versus high risk, limited risk, and minimal risk? So modulating via risk, and then the executive order in the US is around safety and security, et cetera, and consumer protection. Just want to make sure, great, that I'm answering questions here. And there we go. Looks like we're good. So yeah, would love to know if there's more questions here. I might just do a follow-up with the regulation, because there isn't a ton of information. So I might compare. What about that? So compare the AI regulation in the US and the EU, making a table with similarities and differences. Okay. It'd also be great to know, like, who does that affect? Does it affect AI companies just in those areas or beyond? Okay, so here we go, getting a response right away. And yeah, so we'll probably do this as our last question here, unless anyone has any other questions that you want to bring up. Okay. So they're both regulatory frameworks. So this is guiding principles, but it's not legally binding. Whereas this is proposed with legal obligations. So again, it's like, are you going to spend, and maybe you're not interested in AI regulation. You can use this for anything. So two big documents, I need to know what's similar and what's different about them. I need to know it in like 5 seconds, and I'm able to receive it, upload it into my brain in less than a minute. Because like so much is coming at us all the time. And again, this is the signal from noise. So reading two, 150-page documents in legal language, not going to do that. Even if I'm at an AI startup, I'm not I have to listen to users. It's not my role. It's not, I'm not in a legal role. And lots of us aren't. And so how do we get up to speed quickly on what is out there? So again, we're looking at the risk system. And this is about the development of AI, right? So we can keep going. Just want to make sure that, okay, no open questions. Right, and banning things explicitly, but there's no explicit ban here. Encouraging innovation. And I think this is why there's been a backlash here, is like, will this minimize innovation or have a negative impact on innovation in AI in the US? We don't know the answer to that. Because it's around who can build these models, or just informing the government if you're building a large model. Worker support. So this is a lot around protecting workers' rights, making sure you don't violate fundamental rights. And this is more specific around prevention of discrimination and bias. So there's a lot here not explicitly mentioned. So now we're learning more about the differences. And then with governance, again, so national authorities and a EU AI board, and also a White House council, etc., right? So one for our country, one for the EU. And then how this is going to address critical infrastructure and national security. And last point here, anything that's high risk needs to be in an EU database. And then this is about labeling. Where did this come from? Did AI create this content, right? Trying to guard against misinformation campaigns. All right, and then you get a summary here at the end. So EU, more prescriptive. Some call it comprehensive. The US is more of a principle-based approach about guidelines, and also as a focus on workers and international collaboration, whereas the EU is more focused on fundamental rights within the EU. Okay, so I'm going to take us back to the slide for these final slides. Would love to get your feedback. And also, you can schedule time with us. So that's our CEO. That's a QR code. 2 is calendar. How many CEOs do that? Thanks so much for joining us. Would love to see you next time. And let us know what you would like us to do webinars on. So we usually do them every week for a different persona. And this week focused on research. If anyone's celebrating a holiday in the next few weeks, happy holidays to you. Thank you for joining us. Okay, thanks.